video, you may think this is one of these rah, you can do anything motivational videos. And it's not. It's a bit of realism. I, over the last few months, have been working with a friend of mine by having a phone call with him every 2 weeks. And one of the conversations we had, he's an incredibly intelligent guy. He has a wealth of experience, specifically within crypto, but also marketing. And he is at a bit of a crossroads, really. What he's been doing over the last few years, he doesn't want to be doing anymore. And we're very different in many ways. I'm saying this because it's relevant to what I'm talking about in general. We're very different in that I'm someone normally that has little patience, likes to get things done and get going. And this guy is very different. He thinks for a long time. In my opinion, probably thinks a little bit too much. Anyway, in our bi-weekly call, it came up and I asked exactly the same question. What would you do if money wasn't an issue and you didn't have to worry about paying monthly bills? And he's actually in a situation where he doesn't actually have to worry about paying monthly bills because he's got enough income coming in to do it. His bills are relatively low. He doesn't have to worry about that. So he's in an ideal situation to be able to actually sit down and really think what he wants to do. So he hasn't got that pressure of I've got to earn money to pay bills. And so the idea of life is too short to be doing stuff you don't want to be doing. And don't get me wrong, we all have to do stuff we don't want to do at different times of our life. So I'm not talking about, like I said, this rah-rah idea, you only do what you want to do and somebody else does what you don't, because that's not real life. What I'm talking about, this is what I said to him last week, what would you choose to do if you could do it right now? And that's something he's gone away and thought about, and that's what he's going to think about. We already, during the call, identified things he definitely didn't want to do, directions he could go down that actually he wouldn't want to do that long term. Now, although I am in no way, shape or form there, in any way, shape or form, I'm nowhere near there at the moment, I am lucky and partially content with my idea and my plan moving forward. The only two things I'm working on, the two businesses I'm focusing on, I would do if I was a multimillionaire again. And that is my crypto brokerage business and my racing pigeon business. I'm passionate about both. I love the brokerage business because it caters to my deal making side of my personality, and it's scalable. And the racing pigeon business is a thing I've been passionate about since I was the age of 12 years old, and I'm still fascinated by now. So for me, I'm lucky in that the two things that, after the barrel of shit that I've been through over the last 12 to 18 months within the crypto business, and all of the crap I've had, which is another story for another day, I'm actually very happy with my plan. The two businesses I'm doing, I would still do them if money wasn't any object and if I didn't actually need to do them. And before anybody thinks, Mo, I'd go and sit on a beach and live on an island and do nothing. I've lived on an island many years ago, and let me tell you, it gets boring pretty quick. So don't kid yourself that you do absolutely nothing. In fact, I had this exact conversation this morning with my eldest son, who I went for breakfast with, and I asked him exact same question. And after about 10 minutes of conversation, he figured he would go around in a camper van he's converting and go and just travel around. But again, at some point that would end. You can't do that for the rest of your life. I suppose some people do, but that wouldn't probably be the thing that he would choose to do forever. So he's still got to find that thing. Then we identified he'd probably like to have a farm and what have you. So we went through it. So the idea of living on an island and doing nothing for the rest of your life, unless you are older and at retirement age, is not something that you would do. I know for a fact that I will never retire. I will always be doing something because that's just the way I am. So from my point of view, my life is actually on that path. The two things that I'm doing is on the path. The cryptocurrency brokerage business, there's a new element of that business I'm launching very soon. I would do that still if I was a multimillionaire again and money wasn't an object, and I would do the racing pigeon business. Now, obviously, it would look slightly different. Over a period of time, I plan to have a team around me working on both of those businesses, and ultimately, it would mean I would do, on a daily basis, I would do pretty much what I wanted to do and what I'm good at, which is making deals and communicating and networking and with people. And obviously at the moment I do stuff that I wouldn't necessarily choose to do within those two businesses. So I'm not there, but actually the path, those two things that I'm solely dedicated to, I would still be doing. And there's some enhancements I would do when I get back to that situation. I would live half the year on an island somewhere. But I wouldn't be sitting on a beach doing bugger all. I would still be doing the business that the businesses that I've mentioned. I would still be doing, although be sitting on an island. I'm one of the only people you would meet. Like, I've been to the island of Zante for the last 2 years running on holiday, and I'm the only guy you'd see sitting there with a laptop doing work still by the pool, because that's what I choose to do, and that's me, and that's what I like doing. So my enhancement long-term plan is to be able to live again half the year. I love the UK when the weather's good, and I would live half the year here in the UK, but I would live on an island somewhere, but still doing my business, but just in sunny climes with the sun out every single day. And ultimately, knowing that's my plan, my long-term plan, I'm going to be basing the foundations of these businesses and the structure to enable me to do that long term, which would involve having a team specific for the racing pigeon business. That would mean having a team based in the UK, so I didn't have to be there every day. The brokerage business is very different because actually you can run that from anywhere in the world. So enough about my thing. I'm content with the plan. I'm far from content where I am. I'm nowhere near that, but I hope within 5 years, as my children no longer particularly are bothered where their dad is in the world at any given time, that I'll be able to say, right, I'm making that transition with these two businesses, and I'm going to be living abroad 6 months of the year and continuing to work on them. And when I become a multi-millionaire again from these two things, I will still continue to do that. There are probably other little bits I would do. I would do more talking. I would do more speaking around the world with my realeNtrepreneur.com brand. But that would be more enjoyment based, because I get a great deal of enjoyment out of helping as many people and sharing my stories and experience. So there's a few little enhancements. One of the things would be Music is Life that I would dedicate some more time to as well. So there's a few little enhancements, but generally as a plan, what I'm doing now I would still do. So how does that relate to you? Well, if you are sitting there doing something that you don't want to do on a daily basis, the question is, do you know what you would ideally like to do if money was no object? If the answer is no, you need to be seriously looking at what that would be in a realistic sense. If the answer is yes, okay, what you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, is that acting as a building block to get to that vision, that painted picture as I call it, and ultimately achieve that goal of what you would do if money were no object? Because the idea of you need to be very wealthy to do what you want to do on a basis is actually a fallacy. Many people could actually be doing it to some scale or degree without being wealthy. So if you know what you're doing, ask yourself, am I on the path, and is this a building block, what I'm doing now, to it? And if the answer is no, and you're doing something you really hate, I would say to you, life is too damn short to be doing stuff on a consistent daily basis that you really don't want to do. As I say, everybody has to do stuff they want to do on a daily basis. I do stuff I wouldn't choose to do, but that's causing me, I'm doing it because it's a building block and a path to that eventual goal. And again, disregard the idea of living on an island and then sitting on a beach all day, because that gets boring quick, like I said earlier. If you're a certain type of person, that'll get old real quick, trust me. So if you're on your road to that goal and that eventual painted picture of your ideal life, excellent. If you're not, I would suggest you need to look at what can you change to make sure that you are building and achieving towards that goal. Like I said, this is not rah-rah stuff. This is just seeing way too many people dying way too quick and early, and the older I get, that happens more, and realizing life is too damn short to be living a life you don't want to be living. And without getting too rah-rah and motivational about it, it's about being real and doing stuff that you want to do. The reason I will go to Zante and continue to be on my laptop 6-7 hours a day, because I actually like what I do most of the time, and it doesn't feel like work to me. And people sit there saying, oh, I'll take a break, but actually the fact that I'm sitting right by a beach with the sun beaming down on me and a drink in my hand is enough for me to continue. Like I said earlier, when I spend 6 months a year outside on an island in the sun somewhere, wherever that may be, it may be the Bahamas, Cyprus, who knows where it may be, I will continue to be doing what I do, just in a sunny climate where it's not pinning it down with rain. So it won't change. I won't just be going on holiday for 6 months. And everybody's different, you know. That's my goal. That's my firm goal. That's actually something that I did many years ago, and I will do again. Obviously life changes and commitments and kids and what have you, but about 5-year plan, 5 years time, that's about where I want to be at. I wrote in my book 2013 the day I thought I'd made it. The day it actually came where I thought I made it. I actually had a conversation, a good friend of mine, Toby Street's helping me with some of my mindset stuff at the moment, and I told Toby Street this story. The day I thought I made it was sometime in May 2001, and I was driving down a freeway in Florida towards Fort Lauderdale Airport, and there's a big swooping left-hand turn, and you can see the ocean in the distance and the coming up to the airport, and I actually patted the car as I'm driving, thinking, blimey Mark, you've done it. You're flying back to the island that you've always wanted to live on for the last 8 years. You've got the business you want, you've got the family you want, and that was the time I thought I'd made it. Didn't last that long as it turned out, but that's another story for another day. Getting back to that level of contentment is what continues to drive me, no matter what crap happens to me, no matter whether I've got problems. I will continue until I get back to that level of contentment. But actually, despite some of the crap I've had over the last 12 months with getting conned and scammed and all kinds of stuff, I'm quite content about my plan, which gets me up every morning, because like I said earlier, the two things I'm doing, crypto and racing pigeons, I mean, how different can you get? I've been passionate about for years, and I don't view it as work, which is why it's a Saturday afternoon here and everybody else is busy doing something else, and I'm doing a few hours work. I'll stop in a few hours time because Gabby, my girlfriend's, back for the weekend, and I'm going to take some time actually doing racing pigeon stuff tomorrow, featuring a race tomorrow. But that's why you'll see me working till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, because I'd actually like doing it. And if you can be in a position that you actually like doing what you're doing, and it's a building block to get to you where you would be doing what it is, whether you were a multimillionaire or not, then you're winning at life. I'll let you think about that. I'd love any feedback on it that you've got. Thanks for watching. Keep it real. Be lucky, and I'll catch you soon.